Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the NWA Power Review for the 30th of March 2021. Anyway, this by far is my favorite wrestling program nationally right now, and it has so little talent in comparison to what's usually there. Um, there are storylines that make sense. There are talent that lead to futures. There are people, tension, and future planning. There's good wrestling. There's lots of things. Um, it's a much different wrestling show, and the NWA is, to me, the best possible thing for actual pure wrestling that isn't nationally sold out due to needing huge television ratings that's available in the United States. MLW, I'm going to add to that list pretty soon. With the changeover of the network, I'm going to start, hopefully, covering the MLW television run here within the next month or two. That's my goal anyway. Anyway, Nick Aldis opens the show, says he wants to discuss dealing with an affliction. He knows how to do one thing, and that's win. He doesn't know how to do anything else. He said he beat Aaron Stevens back at the Attack, and Strictly Business won last week as well. Davis asks if Adonis is joining Strictly Business, and Adonis, they say they're getting ahead of themselves. And he is, as they're talking, Trevor Murdoch comes out, confronts Adonis for teaming with him last week after condemning him in the opening promo. Murdoch says that he was in hospital for a week because of Adonis and couldn't collect pay for his family. I like this little touch. Makes it more human. We all understand what it's like to be out of work due to family, due to being taken out. We also understand what it's like not to be able to provide for those we care about. So it's just a more human approach. Anyway, Murdoch demonstrates and demands another match with Adonis. That's no DQ, no count out, and he'll put the national title of the NWA on the line. Aldis is offended that Murdoch cut him off and said the last thing he wants to do if he's worried about missing work is cross Aldis. Aldis then reminded him of the number one rule Harley Race taught them both: never turn your back on your opponent. Adonis comes out and attacks Murdoch and beats him down, while Adonis looks on. Aldis looks on with joy. Aldis and Adonis, apparently, in my notes, look a little too similar. Referees break it up. Doctor comes out to check on Murdoch. Um, Beautiful opening segment. You know who the stars are. You know who the talent is. Um, you're building towards something. Anyway, Aaron Stevens and Curtis are backstage with Mae Valentine. She is the worst part of this show, in my opinion. Stevens talks about Joseph Hudson again and how he changed his life. Sal Rinauro comes on screen and asks for a World Tag Team title shot. Stevens agreed, but he said he'd better be prepared as this is the NWA. Sliced Boogie, who won a match at the recent pay-per-view, defeats Jeremy Pluckett, and Sliced Boogie gets over in basically what amounts to a squash for his benefit. Boogie keeps control for the match, except for a very short heat segment from Pluckett. Boogie hits a nice springboard back elbow, misses a middle rope elbow, and allows Pluckett to get the heat. Pluckett then hit a spine buster for 2 count and then locks on a sleeper. Boogie gets out with a back suplex, nails Pluckett with a clothesline and a Gotch pile driver, and then a driver for the pinfall. Tyrus with Austin Idol defeats Matthew Mims. Tyrus, I don't know, works over Mims with what looks to be some out-of-date offense. Tyrus catches Mims across body, slams him with an elbow, locks on a classic nerve hold. Mims then gets out and hits a few headbutts, shakes Tyrus. Tyrus hits an exploder and a choke slam for the pinfall. Fred Rosser and Pope are on the podium. Rosser talks about how Pope's not ready for him because he's taking the TV title. Pope says he knows Rosser for a long time and remembered Rosser asking him for advice backstage back in the day when Rosser said off mic that was then, this is now. They announced the match as the main event for next week. Awesome challenge. Thunder Rosa and Alex Garcia defeat Sky Blue and Gemicide by disqualification. Matches billed as ladies celebration match. Rosa brings some talent to the NWA to give them a chance. Blue, Gemicide, and Garcia are all certainly more green than Rosa, but Rosa went out of her way to make them look as good as she could. Sky Blue starts the match with Rosa. Blue does not have enough experience to be here. Rosa rolls her into submissions back and forth. She stays on top during the majority of the time. Rosa tags Garcia in, hits a sad-looking chop on Blue. Rosa tags back in, hits one of her own, and it's, well, ouch. Rosa and Garcia exchange tags back and forth. Gemicide comes in extremely green, and she certainly is the largest person, lady of the match. She does power moves, including squats, holds Garcia up for a slam. Rosa then hits a hot tag, eats a spear from Camille, who runs out with a DQ. Melina, who's on commentary, came over to the ring and starts yelling at Camille. Rosa pulls her out of the way, and Camille turns around and comes face to face with Gemicide. Both of them are about the same size, so good build there. Aldis on commentary for the main event. Joe Galli wants to address something before the match begins. Would Tim Storm wrestle again? The answer is yes. Storm's not done yet, but he didn't want to take away from Aldis as champion and made no excuses. Aldis beat him for the title even if he doesn't like how Aldis behaves. Aldis gives a warning to Storm that in fact he's glad he hadn't retired, but he needed to watch his mouth and look at Strictly Business. Looks like we could get another Aldis and Storm feud down the road. No DQ, Chris Adonis defeats Trevor Murdoch to win the NWA National title. Story of the match, Murdoch has an injured neck, so he has to fight through it, but he doesn't really have that much of a chance. Adonis is fast. Match tells a great story, even though it is short. Murdoch comes out wearing a neck brace. Aldis asks if it was wise for him to wrestle with that on. Aldis slams Murdoch on the floor. Adonis slams him on the floor, rather. Aldis talks about Murdoch shouldn't be out there due to injury, even though he played a role in it happening. Adonis works over the neck. Yeah. And then locks on the master lock, hits a full Nelson slam. Adonis picks him up, locks on the master lock again. Murdoch passes out, and Adonis wins the championship via ref stoppage. Aldis said this made Adonis an associate of Strictly Business, and he wants to celebrate the success of Adonis. Tim Storm looks on, upset, as the show closes. This is a wrestling show. I know most people don't know what those are these days, but this is one. Covered it in less than 10 minutes. Every match means something. Somebody gets over, and at the end of the day, you care what happens next week. This is how it's done, folks. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.